Oh, good day, YouTube, and welcome to another episode of the Albino Rhino Beer Review. Today you have the Rhino, and we're looking at a beer. Today's beer is right here. Today's beer, and actually, we're going to have to pull this up on Untapped because I want to get as much information about this as I can, because this is a really intriguing beer to me. Really intriguing. It seems like it is a contract brew. Oh, it's a collaboration brew. Okay. Okay. I can get behind that. Okay, and there is some stuff to speak of on here. Okay, so here we go. I saw this. I walked into Urban Cellars in Regina. I go, normally if I go to Urban Cellars, I go to the one on East Quants, sort of close to home, and it's close to work and stuff like that. So if I'm wasting time waiting for my wife to pick me up from work and stuff, I'll go wander through there. I hadn't been there, hadn't bought a beer at a beer store in over a month, probably about 6 weeks. So I went in expecting to see something I hadn't seen before. Basically all the craft beers were the things I had seen already. And then there was a 4-pack sitting on top of the cooler. And I was bitching to my wife. I'm like, I don't want to buy it because it's a 4-pack, but look at what it is. And she's like, I think you're going to have to bite the bullet. Knowing you, you have to bite the bullet for this, because I think you want it very bad. And you're not buying anything else, just buy the 4-pack. I'm like, but I don't want a 4-pack of it. She's like, bite the bullet, you whiny bastard. So I bit the bullet. So this is a collaboration between the Federation of Beer in Vulcan, Alberta, and Torchlight Brewing, also in Alberta. But this is Star Trek Engage. So Star Trek Engage, Galaxy Class Ale. So it's a Star Trek themed beer, and with Engage you're looking at like Captain Picard. You see the Enterprise here on the label. If you flip it around, you get like some of the blueprints of like the saucer section. You flip it around again, and it talks about, for over 55 years, Star Trek has been a symbol of human inclusivity and the progress that can be achieved through unity. Engage with your community, support each other, and the stars are the limit. And I agree with that. You can include anybody you want. Every problem we have in this world about things that, you know, just the way we think about each other and the way we act with each other, it's all man-made. We're all human, and we have the ability to be human towards each other. We just choose not to, and it's a sad thing. And Rusty had commented on one of my videos. He's like, oh, every Star Trek episode I watched was, you know, a socio-political thing. Is there ever fights? And yes, there was a lot of space battles and stuff, but yes, at least, and especially Next Generation, there was space battles, but it was very socio-economical, political. The original was very much the same. Even the animated series, to an extent, was very politically infused. Hell, Roddenberry didn't even want smoking involved in anything, because though he was a smoker, he thought, you know, in the future we'd be too smart to smoke. Apparently we weren't too smart to drink, though, because it was drinking in a lot of it. So it's just one of those things. So this is an amber ale. It is 6% alcohol by volume, and I'm really excited on here. And here it is, Space, the Final Frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before. Captain Jean-Luc Picard. Yeah, I'm showing my inner nerd. But we've talked about this series, right? Deep Space Nine was my favorite, then probably Voyager. Lower Decks is probably Lower Decks is probably on par with Deep Space Nine. But Deep Space Nine, Voyager, then probably The Next Generation, then probably Picard, then the original series, and I did not like Enterprise all that much. I didn't. Never watched Strange New Worlds, never watched Discovery. Oh, there was that other one too. There was another cartoonish one. I don't know the name of it. Anyway, what do we have here? Engage in this well-crafted pale ale. But wait, you say on the can it's a red ale. You say on Untapped it's a red ale, but your style guide is that it's a pale ale that's fine-tuned with a dollop of galaxy hops. This recipe will please all aliens throughout the Alpha Quadrant, with the distinctive flavor of punchy passion fruit, juicy peach, and tangy citrus. Pairs best with the next generation of appetizers and goes especially well with pizza, since Captain Kirk trusted marine biologist Gillian Taylor implicitly in the voyage home. He had his own large pizza with mushrooms, pepperoni, and extra onions, served at Quark's Bar and 10 Forward. You've lost me with the fact that this is a red ale with punchy hop flavors. You've lost me with. I'm sad already. I'm sad already because I don't. You know, even when they're like, "Give me Cardassian ale," I don't foresee a bunch of hoppiness out of that beer. I like the color. I don't. It does have a bit of a haze to it, but that is a perfect amber. Off-white, sort of starting mocha head. Nice snap, crackle, and poppy. I really do like the look of this beer. I'm not a huge fan of the selling points of this beer now that I've read them, but I like the look of it. I guess kind of sniff it, eh? Can. See, it doesn't smell hoppy. I get red licorice, I get caramel, I get... Okay, I get a little bit of like a resininess, but I don't get this punchy passion fruit or juicy peach or any... There's no stone fruit or anything like that coming off the nose from me. Out of the glass. Even telling me I'm supposed to smell these things, I don't smell them. I think the thing that excited me the most was it has enough Star Trek stuff on it that it must be licensed. And most licensed beers are looking to be a lowest common denominator beer. The Ozzy Osbourne beer, the AC/DC beer, the, was it Def Leppard or Iron Maiden that had a beer? Trooper and all that. I can't... My mind just doesn't work like it used to. The older I get, the less my mind works. The Trailer Park Boys beers, the Tom Green beers, every beer that's ever, the Rush beer, the beers that I've had that have been star-studded have always been, Guar had a beer, they've always been the lowest common denominator beers, and it's not saying that if you like domestic beer, it's the beer that would be accepted by the most amount of people, because they don't want to. A lot of breweries don't want to pay that licensing fee and then not be able to sell out or make a profit on the beer. So I get it. I get why the beers are that way. So I saw this and I'm like, this is just going to be a drinkable beer. It's going to be great. And I'm a little perturbed at this moment. Anyway, cheers. Let's try it. Slanche. Prost. Oh, yeah. Yeah. Okay. For you to say pale ale in the description, I think you're... What's the best way to do this? I put it to my lips expecting it not to be great because of what it had to say. That being said, it's a fairly solid, easy drinking beer. Red licorice, a bit of burnt caramel. It tells me punchy passion fruit. Don't taste it. It tells me, what were the other ones it said? One second, let's see what other ones it said here. Juicy peach and tangy citrus. Maybe there's a touch of stone fruit. I don't know if I'd be able to say it was peach per se. Maybe more so nectarine or apricot, because it has a little bit more of a punchy, that's not even the word for it, a little bit more of a spike of flavor than a peach would give. Citrus? No. But they worried me with the description. The description's trying to oversell it. Really, you should have probably put on Untapped just what you have on here, you know, that you're celebrating 55 years of inclusivity, you know, because you're talking about unity and inclusivity and all this stuff, and then you're like, punchy passion fruit and juicy peach and tangy that's not inclusive. Inclusive for a beer drinker is making, again, the lowest common denominator beer. The beer that is there for the majority of people. The beer that... McDonald's is the lowest common denominator burger joint because it's the most popular burger joint. Its popularity is waning a little bit, but it's still a burger joint that makes huge amounts of money all over the world. People know what McDonald's is. So when you're looking at a beer like this, you want people to know what it is. You want them to get excited about it. You want them to be like, yeah! So that's what I expected out of this. And the description made me go, oh shit, this isn't going to be what I was hoping for. But in the end, it kind of is what I'm hoping for. It's just a beer. It's a beer that I could share with a lot of people and talk about, you know, growing up. You know who got me into Star Trek? It wasn't, I can't say that it was my dad or anything. I didn't know my dad when I was a kid. I didn't meet my dad until, well, I met my dad, I think I was 6 when the last time I had seen my dad. And he came for my birthday. He brought some presents. And that was the last time I saw my dad. And I didn't find out until I was an adult. The reason my dad stopped coming around was my mother said that if he kept coming around, she wouldn't let anyone in my dad's side of the family be a part of my life. So I thought my dad didn't want anything to do with me for my entire life, which really fucked me up. And turns out, you know, he would show up to wrestling tournaments and stuff to watch me wrestle without me knowing he was there. I saw my grandmother and my aunt all the time, and I saw my grandmother and my aunt all the time, not because, I don't think per se my aunt wanted to be there for me. I think my aunt was there because my grandmother was old, and she lived with my aunt. And so, yeah, I mean, growing up, my grandmother lived with my great-grandmother, and then when my great-grandmother died, my grandmother lived with my aunt. And the reason I'm bringing this stuff up is because it wasn't my dad that got me into it. My dad was a biker and this and that. It was a friend of mine's dad that actually watched it, and I would spend a lot of time at that friend's house. I haven't talked to that friend in a long time. His name was Chris Manning. I haven't talked to Chris in decades. I'm 42 now. It's probably been 30 years almost since I've talked to the guy. But his dad used to watch Star Trek all the time, and we would get together, and he was like a year or two younger than me, and we would get together and we would play video games. We would do whatever. I would go to his football games. We would go to his dad's hockey games. But every night when Star Trek came on, we would stop whatever we were doing, and we would all watch Star Trek if we were at the house. And that's what got me into it. And it's weird to think that that's what got me into it. And the only way I made friends with him was my mother was a cashier at a byway, and Chris's dad was the manager of the byway. And, you know, we were close to the same age, and yeah, it was, I don't know anything about him anymore. You know what, with social media and all that, maybe I'll look the guy up, see if I can find him, see what's going on in his life. But that's what got me into it. And I don't know, I just think that if you're going to do a beer that's about inclusivity and unity and everything like that, you need a beer that's inclusive to the most people you can get it inclusive to. And the description of the beer on Untappd made me worried it wasn't going to be that. The beer itself, it's pretty much that. This is an American red ale, apparently, which would kind of be like a pale ale, but it is more like a easier drinking Irish red with a higher ABV. I really like it. I really do. It's not amazing, but it's solid. And that's all I can ask for from it. Out of 10 on that, giving it a 7.75. I would buy it again. But I think I'm being a little nostalgic on the stuff that I love about life. And I like what this beer makes me remember. Yeah. Cheers. Bye.